Good evening and welcome to 7 Eyewitness News. I'm Samantha Ratt and thank you for joining us tonight. Let's take a look at the major headlines. The government distributes food cards on a conditional basis. Fired Minister Colin Partab gets another post. He is now on the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament. COP leader Prakash Ramada stands behind Joseph Tony for turning down the CLICO case for the Ministry of Finance. And in business, industrial action by True Value workers forced the supermarket to shut its doors for the day. Straight to our top story now. Kamla Persad-Bissessar was not the right choice for Prime Minister. She took office in 2010, and this from a more than usual bitter-sounding Congress with the People leader Prakash Ramada, who made the comment to party members on Thursday night. Daryl Hirlal has more.
Leader of the Congress of the People, Prakash Ramada, is singing the same Sour Grapes tune they have sung for the past 2 years, but this time with a bit more venom. On Thursday night, Ramada addressed the party faithful during the COP's first elections debate for internal executive positions. Ramada spent a significant part of the 6-minute address focusing on what he presented as a case of the COP being robbed of its fair share in the People's Partnership. And he started off this round of complaints insinuating that Kamla Persad-Bissessar was a wrong choice for the job of Prime Minister when the partnership swept the May 24, 2010 polls.
And in 2010, when the election was called, we gave selflessly of our leader, who ought to have been the Prime Minister. We gave selflessly of our work because we knew Trinidad and Tobago needed a change. But the sad fact is that after we went in the relationship that got us into government in the People's Partnership, many of our supporters, a large majority of us, felt, well, listen, we had worked so long, we wanted to see a COP in power, we wanted to see a COP Prime Minister, that it was a level of disappointment and disenchantment.
Ramada then continued with the cry that the Congress of the People has been cheated of its fair share in the partnership.
Having gone into a terrible equation in 2010, with limited numbers, we have been able to move from strength to strength. But you know, there are those who will want to define us by our success as failures. And when good things happen to the party and you hear that you eat a food and you sell out and you compromise, I say not one bit of that is true.
And to round it off, Ramada then tried to downplay his previous assertions by saying the party's new politics has changed the style of governance in the country. He added the COP is still a force in local politics.
The Congress of the People is here to stay. I want to make that abundantly clear. We have not been diminished. We have not been diminished in any form or fashion in terms of our core value.
So with this latest attack on the partnership and the UNC with the battle cry that Persad-Bissessar was the wrong choice for Prime Minister, it is to be seen how far Ramada's comments will further erode the coalition. Daryl Hirlal for 7 Eyewitness News.
Kicked off the playing field and onto the backbench over accusations that he behaved ungamely. Fired Minister Colin Partab has been given a bye, even if a small one, to get back onto the field of play. 2 months after Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar fired him from his job as Junior Minister of National Security, Partab has been appointed to the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament. And Partab, you will remember, was held by police after leaving the Zen nightclub after police say he refused to take a breathalyzer test. The announcement was made by Government Chief Whip Dr. Rudal Munilal.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that Mr. Colin Partab be appointed to serve as a member of the Public Accounts Committee in place of Dr. Rupert Griffith.
Honourable members, the question is that Mr. Colin Partab be appointed to serve as a member of the Public Accounts Committee in place of Dr. Rupert Griffith. All in favour say aye. Aye. Any against? The ayes have it.
But there may be yet another test to pass before Partab gets back in the game, as the police file on the incident is to be sent to the Director of Public Prosecutions. Meanwhile, Prakash Ramada is standing by the decision of Joseph Tony, who turned down the offer to represent the Ministry of Finance at the CLICO HCU inquiry. Speaking to reporters on Thursday night, Ramada praised Tony for his decision. Last week, Minister of Finance Laurie Hawaii fired the legal team led by Fayad Hussain SC and announced that Sinath Jairam SC and Tony would be given the briefs. Ramada defended Hawaii's actions and said The minister was within his rights following the COP's first elections debate for internal executive positions. Ramadan defended the reputation of his incumbent chairman.
As you know, the brief has brought about certain questions and so. And Mr. Tony has acted in a manner that shows that there are selfless people in this nation who are willing to do what is necessary to prove even that their character and their name is more important than money.
Food cards being given by the government are being distributed on a conditional basis. And that's from the Minister of the People and Social Development, Dr. Glen Ramadan Singh, as he spoke to residents of Presal this morning. The minister distributed 250 food cards to persons in the region at a function held at the Presal Community Center after addressing the conditional premises of the card.
This is not a card to say, all right, go up the road and do what you want for the rest of your life. You now are part of a program. We are going to ask you how many children you have. And if you lie, we will take it back. No, we won't take it back like that. I mean, don't lie. How many children you have? Are they in school? Are they going to school? What is the percentage attendance in school? We're going to ask you these questions 3 months from now. And only when you have satisfied the requirements of this program in 3 months' time, then you will be renewed.
Ramadan Singh also stated that the People's Partnership government will ensure that social justice is achieved for all citizens of Trinidad and Tobago.
Ministry of the People, which is under the patronage of the Prime Minister, it was a brainchild that everyone must be as equal as every other person. Whether you come from Icacos, whether you come from Laventille, whether you come from here in Freeport, you are a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, equal to every other citizen in this land. Welcome to the Ministry of the People. Welcome to social equity and social justice like never before in Trinidad and Tobago.
And some more news now. Joseph Tony's apparent fixation with his party colleague Anil Roberts and UNC Chairman Jack Warner again showed itself on Thursday night when the Congress of the People held its first debate for internal executive positions in the party at Gaston Court in Chaguanas. Carolyn C. Prasad-Bechan and Rekha Ramjit are contesting Tony for the chairmanship of the COP. And when Tony's chance came to question his opponents on party policy, he asked C. Prasad-Bechan whether she would have Warner as a cabinet minister if she were prime minister, to which she said she would never be the prime minister.
Would you include Mr. Jack Warner, with all that you know about him, in your cabinet?
With Mr. Jack Warner, I would say, first of all, we have taken a party position with respect to that. We have enunciated that, and we must stand by that position if we are the Congress of the People. So I stand with my political leader where that position is.
Then asked Ramjit about Roberts, to which she said the people would decide.
Mr. Anil Roberts comes to you as a candidate in the next general elections. Given all that you know of Mr. Anil Roberts, would you accept him as a candidate for the Congress of the People in a general election campaign?
And therefore, if Mr. Anil Roberts is the selection of his constituency, I will have no quarrel with that.
And some more news now. National Security Minister Jack Warner has been described as a man who sees the bigger picture. Speaking on Sunrise this morning, Community Development Minister Winston Gypsy Peters commended Warner for his initiatives in what some call PNM areas. Minister Peters explained that as National Security Minister, Warner is using these initiatives to create something better than what currently exists.
And you want to take over the place, that is why you come there. That's not what it is about. Yeah. That is not, and we have to somehow or the other find some way and some programs or something to tell people that the development of Trinidad and Tobago must be in every nook and cranny of Trinidad and Tobago. You cannot have in a country people who are deemed to be and then believe that they are second-class citizens in their own country.
Minister Peters explained that not all citizens are fortunate enough to be self-sustaining. He beckoned those who are more fortunate to assist their fellow citizens. Peters said that Laventille has been brainwashed and confused, accounting for the neglect over the years.
Laventille has become a place where the PNM, when they are in power, takes there for granted. So they ignore them, because whether we help you or not, you're going to be us. So they take them for granted. And when another entity comes into being in the country in a political way to rule, and they try to help Laventille, they are told that these people are coming up here for one reason, because they're trying to take over your place. They're trying to get you to vote for them. And so they're between a rock and a hard place.
The minister then called on Laventille residents to remember their value and worth. He pleaded with them to not be blinded by politics and accept the assistance being offered.
Laventille is one of the richest places in Trinidad and Tobago. You have the resilience of the people that are being suppressed. Who says that Laventille is poor? You ever went up Laventille and look around Trinidad?
Many times, yep.
It's the most beautiful place in the world.
Well.
In some more news now, opposition MP Colm Imbert wants to know why the government has not regularized school buses as yet so that drivers are not taxed. He says the former PNM administration started the process and the government just needs to complete the process. Speaking in Parliament, Imbert says in the meanwhile, drivers of school buses have to pay unnecessary taxes.
You're taxing them. You're taxing them. Why? Explain to this House what you are doing with respect to regularizing these school buses. What you're taxing private school buses for. This is wickedness, Mr. Speaker. Yes. How much revenue are you going to raise from private school buses?
Money launderers beware, the government is coming after you. And this country has made several steps in combating money laundering. And as a result, the Financial Action Task Force has removed this country from a deficiency list. Prime Minister Kamala Prasad Biswas announced that she only received word this evening that the FATF has indicated that TNT has made significant progress in rectifying its deficiencies with regards to money laundering.
The FATF welcomes Trinidad and Tobago's significant progress in improving its AML-CFT regime and notes that Trinidad and Tobago has established the legal and regulatory framework to meet its commitments in its action plan regarding the strategic deficiencies that the FATF had identified in February 2010. Trinidad and Tobago is therefore no longer subject to FATF's monitoring process under its ongoing global AML-CFT compliance process.
The Prime Minister told Parliament that this removal from the deficiency list is a big step for this country.
There is no small feat, Mr. Speaker. There are several larger and more developed countries around the world which have been flagged as being deficient, and they continue to be monitored by the FATF. This success confirms my government's commitment to fight crime at any and all levels. And Mr. Speaker,
she says this is a clear indication that the government is committed to fighting crime and money laundering.
Suspicious bank accounts are being monitored and reported by banks. The FIU has its work cut out for them. It is time for action, and those who are involved in money laundering must know, Mr. Speaker, they can run, but they cannot hide.
In some crime-related news now, a man was shot dead at Windy Hill, Aruca on Thursday night in what police say was a reprisal killing. The man was said to be involved in criminal activities and was described by residents as a well-known pest. Up to news time, he was only identified as a Shaka and is said to be in his mid-40s. Residents told police that they heard several gunshots around 8:45 p.m. and the man was later found dead at the side of the road. Police say the man was involved in several shootings and a recent murder in the Aruca area. Constables Paul de Leon and Sunil Ramuta are investigating. Meanwhile, 55-year-old Jiwan Rupchan of Chase Village was killed in an accident near his home, and how his death actually happened is still somewhat of a mystery, as around 7 p.m. Rupchan's mangled body was seen pinned under a trailer truck that had just stopped near Rossa Rampersad Hardware on the Old Southern Main Road. Police believe Rupchan was hit by another car before the trailer truck rolled over him. Meanwhile, a criminal who threatened to kidnap a businessman and his 5-year-old son if he did not sign over his Nissan Navara motor car to him was arrested by police this morning. The 25-year-old Praisal man was caught at the San Fernando offices of the licensing division, where he went to have the van transferred in his name. Police say the would-be kidnapper went to the home of the businessman last week, where he threatened him at gunpoint to burn down his house and kidnap him and his son. The businessman told the police, and this morning Sergeant Jerry Hussain and Corporal Radi Kusun set up a sting operation. The criminal had contacted the businessman and instructed that they meet at the San Fernando licensing office to conduct a transfer of the vehicle. The criminal also told the businessman that the air conditioning in the van was not working and told him that he expected it to be repaired. The suspect is expected to be charged with extortion, among other crimes. Well, do stay with us. Much more news ahead. We'll be right back after a short break. Welcome back to some more news now. True Value Supermarket suffered significant losses today as it was forced to close its doors. And this after workers took industrial action and opted not to work due to the slow pace of wage negotiations. Head of True Value Govind Marad says the supermarket is offering a 7% wage increase, but workers say that is just not enough. Judy Kanhai reports.
If you went to True Value Supermarket today, most likely you might have been met with closed doors. Well, that is if you went to the ones either at Val Park Shopping Plaza, Trincity Mall or Long Circular Mall. The other three at Diamond Vale, One Woodbrook Place and El Socorro remained open for the most part of the day. This due to ongoing wage negotiations between True Value's management and the Banking, Insurance and General Workers Trade Union. Head of True Value, Govind Marad, says that this morning weekly paid workers came out to work for 1 hour. They then indicated that they will not be working for the rest of the day. Marad told 7 Eyewitness News that he was shocked by the action taken by the workers since wage negotiations did not break down. But President General of the BIGWU, Vincent Cabrera, says a meeting was scheduled for today with the supermarket, but they cancelled, and it's not the first time they have done so. In defense, Marad says meetings have been cancelled by both parties in the past, and this was never an issue. The supermarket has put a 7% wage increase on the table, but this has been rejected by the union. Marad says the wages paid are in line with leading players in the industry. But employees tell 7 Eyewitness News that the wage offer on the table would give them just over $1 increase per hour, and they are frustrated and fed up with the pace at which the negotiations are going. Both parties have been negotiating since 2010. True Value was unable to say how much money it lost today. Judy Kanhai, 7 Eyewitness News.
And staying on the industrial front, workers of the Pan American Life Insurance Company have received a 15% wage increase. The agreement was signed today between the company's management and the Banking, Insurance and General Workers Trade Union. The insurance company was previously called Algico and was owned by MetLife, but was acquired by Pan American Life Insurance Company last year. CEO and Managing Director of Pan American Life Insurance Company, Caribbean, Miguel Sierra, says it was really important for the company to conclude the negotiation since it was not settled by MetLife.
The employees are going very happy. Also, we've heard from the agents that they felt that by closing this deal, the whole environment of the company is going to improve.
BIGWU Vincent Cabrera says after months of negotiations, he is pleased that negotiations have finally been settled.
5% wage cap, which has now, and some people have now gone into the 9% wage cap. We are of the view that you do not wear caps when you're doing collective bargaining. I've never seen Mr. Jerry Pinal walk in a negotiations with a cap.
He says the 15% wage increase will be a benchmark for negotiations in the financial sector and he hopes that other companies would exercise the same level of discretion and fairness in their negotiations.
I hope other companies in the finance sector would follow the good example that has been shown by this company. It is a foreign company, but it's a company that has brought certain benefits to Trinidad and Tobago.
In some other news now, opposition MP Colm Imbert says the government is afraid to touch casino owners, and he says they simply don't have the political will to deal with them. He made those comments while speaking in Parliament this evening on the motion to approve the provisional collection of taxes order.
That a man making $100 million a year. You think he cares if you raise not wappy table, slot machine from 10,000 to 20,000? You think he cares? He laugh at you. Walk all the way laughing to the bank, Mr. Speaker.
Imbert says the former PNB administration planned to shut down all members' club within 5 years, and that period was up in 2011. He's accusing the government of collecting monies from casino owners during the election campaign and now protecting them.
This next election is going to be interesting, Mr. Speaker, because we now have a financial intelligence unit. And now when you have a transaction of $60,000 or more, you have to declare source of funds. Rumors abound that one of the major contributors to the PP campaign was casino operators, Mr. Speaker. I asked the minister to tell me today, why are you pussyfooting with this whole question of casino gambling in Trinidad and Tobago? This is the third budget.
Well, reporter Michelle Michael joins us now with tonight's Sportscast.
A very good evening to you, and thank you for joining us. I am Michelle Michael with your Sports Cap on 7 Eyewitness News. Well, the Golden Boy George Bovell III continued his golden ways yesterday when he won the men's 50-meter freestyle on the final day of the FINA Arena Swimming Short Course World Cup in Russia. This makes it the third gold medal of the World Cup for the Trinidad and Tobago swimmer, who has also won 5 silver medals. Swimming from lane 3, Bovell was in no mood for a runner-up finish and sped home in 20.90 seconds. In his second sub-21 clocking, Bovell beat the 2000 Olympic gold medalist American Anthony Irvin for the second time in a week. This gold medal success makes Bovell a contender for the $100,000 cash prize to be taken by the top men's swimmer, with the most points at the end of the 8 legs of competition. Last Sunday, Bovell won his second gold medal and set a national record in the men's 50 meters freestyle. Bovell will be traveling to Berlin today and then will compete tomorrow and Sunday. The golden swimmer then tops in China on November 2nd to 3rd, then to Japan on November 6th to 7th, and then the 8th and final stop in Singapore on November 10th and 11th. In more news, no agreement has been reached between the Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Board and the West Indies Players Association with regards to the distribution of the US $450,000 transfer fee for Trinidad and Tobago players Kieron Pollard, Sunil Narine and Dwayne Bravo. The trio elected to represent Indian Premier League clubs at the ongoing 2020 Championships League in South Africa instead of playing for Trinidad and Tobago. The decision meant that the Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Board would be $450,000 richer and also attracted the attention of other TNT players. The local cricketers expressed their desire to share in the money transfer, with some even threatening to withhold their services for the Champions League. An agreement prior to the TT leaving for the tournament was reached, however, with the TTCB and WIPA agreeing to negotiate and come to a solution. But after 2 weeks, first Vice President of the local cricket board, Dudnath Ramkissoon, revealed that no decision has yet been made and negotiations are continuing. Ramkissoon added that he expects a resolution to the matter sooner than later. Well, in more news of cricket, the Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Board has again engaged the services of former outstanding West Indies opening batsman Gordon Greenidge. The hard-hitting Bajan, who has had a long and fruitful relationship with the TTCB, has been assigned to work with the TTCB's Academy inductees, representing the new generation of young and upcoming national stars. One of these sessions will commence this weekend at the National Cricket Centre in Balmain-Couva from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. The 61-year-old Bajan played 108 test matches for the West Indies and scored 7,558 runs, which included 19 centuries. His highest score was a knock of 226, and he retired with a tremendous average of 44.72. His career spanned from 1974 to 1991. Well, in more cricket news, rain seems to be following the Indian Premier League sides wherever they go. A third successive evening came in the Champions League 2020, and today was washed out in Durban. While some play had been possible in the previous no-result games, even the toss could not be taken today as a persistent but not heavy drizzle set in. It was the Delhi Daredevils' turn to be satisfied with 2 points after Kolkata Knight Riders and Mumbai Indians on the 2 previous evenings. While the rain had knocked Knight Riders out and left Mumbai Indians hoping for a Yorkshire win against Lions, it did not impact the Daredevils' chances as much. They were still placed second on the points table behind Titans and ahead on net run rate of the Auckland Aces, who also pocketed 2 points. Trinidad and Tobago's Red Force were knocked out of the competition earlier this month when they were defeated by Yorkshire. And finally, in tonight's Sports Cap, speaking of Golden Boy Olympic javelin champion Keyshawn Walcott will host a cruise aboard the Harbour Master on Sunday to raise funds to assist young athletes. Walcott's manager Sean Roach said a non-profit organization will soon be launched in Walcott's name. The boat ride will help to raise funds to be used to help to develop more amateur athletes to reach their true potential. Walcott struck gold in the men's javelin Olympic finals on August 11th, winning in a national record of 84.58 meters in one of the major surprises at the Games. Roach added that plans are being put in place to host the fundraisers, and efforts are being made to sensitize corporate Trinidad and Tobago to play a stronger role in the development of sport. Well, that has been your Sports Cap here on 7 Eyewitness News. I am Michelle and Michael, inviting you to stay with us and have yourselves a safe and enjoyable weekend. Good night.
On that note, we've come to the end of tonight's newscast. I'm Samantha Ratton, wishing you a very safe and blessed night and a most wonderful and relaxing weekend ahead on behalf of all of us here at Win Communications.